in the same system. They're each doing them dramatically different.
Would you, if we go into that a little bit in regards to magical orders and secret societies and so forth, do you feel that there's a difference between a magical order and, let's say, a fraternal order? I don't know if you make that distinction, but it sounds a little bit to me with the terminology sometimes that you use that there is a quite a big difference between these two. Is that the case?
Well, there's big differences between different organizations. We'll just back way up and say there's that. But there are magical organizations that are fraternal orders also.
Right.
It's a magical organization within the structure of a fraternal order. In Crowley's thelemic magic, it'd be like the difference between the OTO, which is a fraternal organization, but it is also a magical order. And then there's Crowley's AA, which is not a fraternal organization, but it is a magical order. And
the AA, that's the Astronum Argentum, or what is that? What's the?
Well, the AA is the AA, and many people believe it's Latin for the silver star.
Silver star, yeah, that's right. Okay.
Right, and that may or may not be the case. It depends on who you
ask.
Who you're asking.
Okay. Right.
But I'm going to give you a real example. I'm a Freemason. Okay. Don't get me wrong. I don't rule the world. I'm not responsible for NATO. I'm just a Freemason. Okay. I don't believe in a big Masonic conspiracy. My father was a Freemason, and he was one of the most noble individuals that I've ever met. I believe that a great deal of his character was molded by his participation in Masonry. I really admired him, and before he died, he really wanted me to join the Masons too. But unfortunately, he died before I did. And as a matter of fact, I waited till I was 50 years old to join the Masons. And when I did, I had already put over 25 years of experience in other truly magical organizations, overtly magical organizations, the ones that wear a little name tag that says, "Hi, I'm in a magical organization." And the Masons certainly wouldn't call itself a magical organization.
Sure.
But I tell you, when I stood there at the door to be received in my entered apprentice degree, and I knocked on that door, and I heard what they said in there, and the door was open, and they took me in there, and they did this wonderful ceremony that hasn't changed very much in hundreds of years. I tell you, it was one of the biggest magical experiences of my life, and it was initiation of the highest degree. And it didn't matter that the old gentlemen who were my initiatory officers didn't have a real clue as to what they were doing. And it didn't matter that they didn't know about magic or the rites of Eleusis, or they didn't know about all of the wonderful imagery and concepts of magic. It didn't matter. They were doing great magic, and they were doing great magic on me. And my mind was totally blown. And now there's a fraternal society that's a magical society that doesn't know it's a magical society. So
Well, that's interesting, because that was kind of one of my questions there. Do you think that because of your previous background with working with other orders and magical systems and your knowledge, that actually helped to bring that about? But that's what I guess what you're saying here as well, then, that and would you also include in that you're kind of implying that many other people that are doing the rituals actually don't know what they're doing in one sense?
Yeah. But in a very important sense, they whether they consciously grasp what they're doing or not, they're doing it. And the advantages of a fraternal organization that prides itself on performing these beautiful initiation ceremonies in precisely the same way, with not a word changed in hundreds of years. It is almost the equivalent. It was as if these old men held the secret of initiation and the secret of life, and they didn't learn it themselves, at least consciously. But the mere fact. Oh, go ahead.
So would you say then that their purpose for having this knowledge is only to actually pass them down to those who actually know what it means, or do you still think that the ones who perform the rituals and the initiations, that they also are changed themselves? Because if they don't understand what they're doing, what are they really learning from it, if you know what I mean?
It's not perhaps what they're learning, but what they're becoming. And that's why I mentioned at the very first, my father was a very unmystical kind of guy, but he was one of the most noble people I've ever met. His character was pure gold. And I believe that his exposure and participation and his programming, how Masonry programmed him, whether he consciously knew it or not, it made him a better soul. It made him a better human being and a better citizen and a better father and everything else. So it is a true initiation is such a pure energy that even those who come near it, who come approach the rays of get benefit from it. And for those that actually know what they're looking for, it's a breathtaking experience. And I have since come in contact with other Masonic brothers that feel this way too. And there's a wonderful sort of below the radar esoteric Masonic movement, all over the world. And in those cases, Masonry becomes a secret or a magical order that knows it's a magical order.
And I've heard this before, and there's some people who argue that also that we're and I'd like to get your take on this, that we're in a time, in that sense right now, where the era of secrets are over, that many of these esoteric truths and lessons and systems and so forth are supposed to be like maybe not handed out to everybody in that sense, but in one sense, those who go and look for them can very easily find them today without, let's say, joining a fraternal order or something like that. Do you think that that's good or bad, or do you still think that they should be kept very much secret?
Personally, I think the years or the age of the necessity of keeping this all secret has long passed. You can Google your way into the secrets of the universe.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, I continue to do so. I'm blown away. So absolutely, the secrecy, and there's power in secrecy. But I think the age of the appropriateness of keeping things secret has passed. Usually the reason that things have been kept secret wasn't because they were so dangerous to humanity. It was because the political climate of the day was such that anybody engaging in spiritual practices that did not conform with powerful religious institutions could find you on the stake. And there hasn't been a heretic burned at the stake, officially, since the late 1700s. And so I really think that the reason for keeping the information secret has long since passed. I'll give you the example of the OTO, because that's what I'm most experienced with. Mm-hmm. The magic of the OTO, with each new degree, you're not given more information or a new knowledge lecture of material for you to master. The initiations are dramatic rituals designed to open you up to your own self-discovery of what the order considers a central and sacred secret. And any question that an OTO member should ask of a knowledgeable and advanced member of the OTO, any question that you can come up with, you'll get the answer. Okay. The only question that you won't get an answer for is, can you tell me the secret handshake of the third degree? Mm-hmm. And there you go. Cause that has to do with, the signs of recognition of your degree. That's just to stop imposters, from presenting themselves as something they're not.
But sorry to cut you up, but does that still work then, considering some of the Masonic encyclopedias, if you will, that are out there and available today?
Yeah. Well, what works is that I can tell you to go to Duncan's Ritual for the Masons, or I can tell you to Google such and such a page, mm-hmm. and let you find it yourself. I just can't tell you.
Right.
So the thing is that hopefully they won't waterboard me to get the secret handshake out of me. And even if I told you the secret handshake, what the hell does that mean anyway? The thing is that I have pledged, I have made a magical oath that I'm going to keep this particular thing sacred. Mm-hmm. And it's part of the discipline of a fraternal organization, for you to have that perpetual background meditation of I'm going to keep this thing sacred to anybody except a person that's gone through the same experience as I have.
Mm. And I'm also thinking about, I guess the reasons to keep these things secret. In terms of that, would you say that the primary enemy to Masonry and Freemasonry have been the established church, or who has been the most I guess the prominent enemy here then, if you will?
The prominent enemy is ignorance. And as the years roll by, the people that are competing for the greatest manifestation of ignorance is the greatest is the greatest enemy. And there has